Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right. I don't know if you can see me any better or any worse, but I don't think it matters because we do these all the time in the dark. So, thinking about everything that's going on with the LA Lakers as usual. Same old topics, same old names. You know what it is, you know what it's about. But I think the only thing that I can bring to the table at this point, and listen to conversations that people are having, is the Lakers have to figure out, dude, how bad does life look if we let go of those two picks versus how bad does life look if things go bad with LeBron James? Because that's the crossroads we're at. I think Jeannie kind of, and gathering from what I'm seeing, she's comfortable playing this thing out with LeBron James and letting him walk, it seems. That's what it seems like to me. I ain't the brightest lamp in the world, but if I'm judging by what I'm getting from her, she's ready to move on from the LeBron James era. And subsequently, I do not believe that we can trade him. You can tell yourself you're going to trade him, but actually trying to pull it off in the market is an entirely different thing. And judging by what I'm seeing, he's untradeable. So essentially, if you break up with him, he's walking. You see what I'm saying? That's how I equate that. I think there a lot is going on behind the scenes that probably would help tie some loose ends in terms of my theories and things of that nature. I think there's specifics happening. But what I can also say is the Lakers had an opportunity to get Kyrie Irving on this team. I think they still have an opportunity to, but I think they had an opportunity to. That time has come where it's possible, and they haven't done it. And then listening to people converse about it, I have to agree with the theory that they don't necessarily find themselves inclined to mortgage anything for Bron because they probably don't think he's coming back, or very much concerned that he won't choose us going forward, to be exact. And so if he were to bounce and we mortgage our future with them two picks, it will be horrible. If you already think he's out the door, then all this makes sense. Then what you're going to see is the Lakers start the season with Russell Westbrook, because they couldn't trade him now. They weren't going to mortgage anything to trade him now. They'll trade him at the trade deadline, get back probably picks or whatever little bit of something they can get back. You can't get picks for him, but whatever you can get back, you'll take back something and be done with it, or just let it expire and could care less. But the problem with that is you're punting this season, not just his season, but your season as the Los Angeles Lakers, when you didn't necessarily have to. And that's a hard sell to a team, fan base that's this invested and with tickets priced at what they are. You got to be selling a champion. You can't start this process telling people they're going to win and then fizzle out like you have these last 2 years. We're watching. You're not going to do this from behind a curtain. So it's one of those situations where it's like, you guys have heard me say this already once today. I think we've already passed the point where we can go back with Bron. I think if you were going to do this properly with him, you would have traded him at the trade deadline, when the waters were more safe, when you could have got the most for him, when there was more time left on his contract. All of that. You could have gave him to a team that could have helped him win a championship this past season. They would have traded the arm and a leg, a foot, and everything else for LeBron at a guarantee. Because at the end of the day, that's the most valuable thing the NBA has had over the last 20 years, is LeBron at a guarantee of any time length. And that's exactly what we'd have been selling at the deadline this past fall or spring or whatever. So it's one of those situations where it's like, all right, if you already passed that point and you believe like I believe, then the only thing left to do is make the right move that gets you Kyrie Irving. Now, are we in the midst of making that happen? I believe that's a scenario you can believe in. Do I think that could fall apart? I think that's a scenario you can believe in. And so it's a lot of different ways that can go. We're at a fork in the road as it pertains to whether or not we're going to acquire them, whether or not speculation is in fact reasonable. To say that they either are or aren't. Not sure yet. But I'm looking at everything and I'm just saying I don't like what I'm seeing if I'm a Laker fan who wants us to win now. I don't like it because it looks like we're about to walk into a situation where we do that good old 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing that I always tell you I hate doing with the timeline, to where you're going to be mediocre, but you play the season out anyway. You're only good enough to make the second round, but you play the season out anyway. I loathe that. I hate it. But for a team without picks, it makes more sense than doing anything else if you're not committing. Because if you blow it up and you suck, all you're doing is making life easier for the team that you traded those picks to. So you don't get nothing for being bad. And if you mortgage everything for a win-now situation and you still don't get it, you're out of those picks and you still lost. So I think that's what Jeannie's looking at. I think that's what she's looking at. The 1 foot in, 1 foot out works for her because she walks away with the most security in the situation. The team looked as good as humanly possible without actually mortgaging anything else. She effectively kept LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the team for another season. And if he walks, we still have our picks. Still got Anthony Davis on contract. Russell Westbrook's coming off the books at $47 million, as to which we can swap out a star or two, or have the flexibility to start building whatever we want. With the 2 picks in hand, with Russ coming off the books, etc., etc. And Bron can come back if he wants to extend his career. We got all the flexibility in the world. We got $47 million worth of cap space to bring you and AD whatever you want. And if you want to walk away into a better situation, have at it. Somebody else will be coming in your stead. Because we got the cap space to pay him. And this is the Lakers. And we can do that. I think that's the game she's playing. And the question is, if you're LeBron James and you're looking at all that, what do you see in regards to the field versus the circumstance that the Lakers are going to create by doing that? That's the smart thing to figure out. Because if you're LeBron and you're 21, that's actually a good situation. You can be mad at us now for screwing year 20. But come year 21, once you start looking at the rest of the opportunities that are out there, the Lakers, because of what they did, will be one of the most attractive, if not the most attractive, free agent destination of that summer. With Russell flying off the books at $47 million. You see what I'm saying? The way that I see what Jeannie's looking at, even if he's pissed off now, when he becomes a free agent, when he starts looking around at places he want to go, we got a good farm system with a bunch of kids. And although we don't have our picks, again, we have all this cap space. So I don't know, man. I'm looking at what Jeannie's thinking. I'm like, man, I might just roll the dice and just bring Russell back and just let that happen. And if people are pissed about it, let them walk. I got $80 million worth of cap space to give to who else wants to be here. And I ain't give up nothing. Damn. Basically. I sit here and look at him like, well, you guys know I don't like that plan because that puts us at risk. But it gives us the most security. When you look at the organization's standpoint and you try to figure out what gives us the most security, trading LeBron James in this climate gives us nothing. We can't get him at cost at all. Trading Russell Westbrook and attaching picks to that is trash. Why? Because at the end of the day, he is an expiring contract, and it is more valuable to us if we just hold on to it for one season and let that money come off the books for the reason I just illustrated to you right now. It's better we do it that way for the franchise a long term. The only thing it's not better for is this upcoming season. It's the only thing it's not good for. and LeBron James and all their fans and all of that. How much do you care about that if we have no guarantees that LeBron James is coming back? And then even if for some reason LeBron James says, you know what, I'm going to commit. Well, if you're committing, then I should stay on this course because it gives me the best flexibility with you. Either way, this gives me the best flexibility with you. So you staying is not going to make me otherwise want to mortgage those picks any more so, because I have to keep a win-now team around you every single season, bro. Not just this one. And you're going to want something tomorrow just like you want this now. Shoot, I don't know. As I think the more about it, the more I realize that the plan that the Lakers have to piss everybody back and piss everybody off and bring Russell back and keep them damn picks in our pocket makes more sense for the organization in terms of easing the concerns of this long-term stability of our situation with LeBron in limbo in terms of him whether or not he's going to resign and us having no picks. Yeah, that's how you best secure the overall sustainability of our franchise, as far as I can tell. But the big but is, if you ruin things with LeBron James, it can mess you up on the back end. So then I propose to LeBron James, if you understand everything I'm looking at, are you retiring at the end of this season if you win the championship? I think the answer is quickly no. I don't think he has any intention of retiring after year 20 unless something drastically bad goes bad with his health. I think he's coming back for 21, and I think he's going to try to be in the best shape possible as usual. If that's the case, you do understand that what we do right now is going to determine whether or not this is a viable place for you to play that year and beyond. And if you still want to live in Los Angeles past this year, play for the Lakers, then you're definitely not going to want us to be a team with no flexibility. You're definitely not going to want that. You know what I mean? And I would tell LeBron James, you're an amazing basketball player. But there's still many things that we all are learning about the landscape of the NBA and just about what it is we're looking at. It's unfolding every day. And with the presence of the financial system in this world and different things that are happening with inflation, you don't know how much it's going to cost to move you tomorrow. You're going to want the place you're at now to be as stable as possible for the duration of however long you want to play, brother. I promise you that. Even if you're thinking that Golden State's going to be this, that, and the third, Golden State may not be willing to risk breaking everything up in the presence of this climate. I don't think anybody should. I think even Brooklyn's considering what it really means to try to bring these guys back and try to make it work, because it's impossible to make things happen in this climate. So I'll tell LeBron James to give that some consideration when using that passion you have for winning now to burn down the bridge with a Laker organization that's trying to keep itself afloat in the presence of great uncertainty. Because your now is, like I said, it's going to keep coming. Unless you plan on retiring at the end of the season, you have got to understand that you're going to want to play somewhere stable, and you're going to want that somewhere to be Los Angeles. Because this sunshine is not going to stop being the sunshine, bro, and you know that. You can go back to Cleveland if you want to. It's going to suck. Midway through the season, you're going to wish to God you didn't do that. Ain't nothing else to prove there. I'm just going to be honest with you. You done won one for them. Ain't nothing else to prove there. And anywhere else you go, they're not going to have the flexibility that we're about to create if we do this. That's the bottom line. They ain't going to be in a better position to get whoever it is you're going to want to play with. Not to mention that Anthony Davis's his contract will be more so mature, and we'll be in a space where either we can move on from him even more so than we would be able to now based on that, or maybe he gets himself back together and he's back to being that guy again, and you're really excited about him at the end of next season, as to which you definitely going to come back and want to play with the Lakers. And you're going to definitely wish we had them 2 damn picks. Or at least one of them. So while I'm telling the Los Angeles Lakers organization to consider mortgaging those picks, I would also look at LeBron James and I would say, consider what it means for you not to force them to. Because nows keep coming. That's word to the wise, my friends. Nows keep coming. You're going to have a now tomorrow that's going to require you needing resources to effectively give you what you need in those situations. And that is what Cap's space is about. That's what draft picks are about. That's what all that good stuff is about. So I know he's looking at different places. He want to play with Steph Curry, this, that, and the third. For all I know, the landscape could change and Steph Curry could find himself in a situation where he needs to move by the time you're trying to get to Golden State. You just don't know how the things can change. That's why I would say just try to make the situation you're in as stable as possible. That's what we've learned from this KD nonsense, this whole situation with Brooklyn. The whole thing is taught us players and ownership should both want stability within the organizations themselves. You should try to honor contracts. You should try to sign people up for situations that they can actually meet the terms to. You should try to, acquiesce to the mental health of different people when they go through different things. You should try to make it work. It is cheaper to stay together in basketball, it seems. That's what we're learning here. Everybody should want to make it work because this right here, this is nonsense. Guys can't even freaking get out of bad situations or get into good situations because everybody's too afraid to move. It's because of the presence of all of this uncertainty. It's because of the presence of everybody moving. Guys don't want to move on from young players because they know if they bring in a star, that guy ain't going to be that happy. They know if they move on from that young player, he could turn into the MVP tomorrow. They know that once you have a guy's bird rights and you give that up, once you try to reacquire stars at that level, you turn into Brooklyn. Basically. So, that is what the wisdom is, man. I would just encourage everybody to take that with them, especially players who are young. If you're 14, 15 years old, man, get familiar with the stuff that we're talking about here, man. Because the world that you're going into, it's going to be a reaction to the stuff that these guys are doing right now. They're going to be treating y'all a certain way because of stuff that these guys are doing. So the youngsters are going to have to be prepared for that. Parents of these youngsters need to get prepared for that. Get familiar on what the cap space in that situation is about. Know as much about that kind of stuff and leverage plays and agents. Get familiar. Because that's going to determine how well your path is through the league, in my opinion. So yeah, that's what I talk about a lot. I appreciate you guys rocking with BDF 44. I think I'll leave right there, man. I really do want to see the Lakers get to a point where, all of this is behind them. I'd like to think LeBron James is still a part of this when we do that. Because at this point, we should all see the fruit and being on the same side now. Not because we all want something different, but because it's damn near impossible to move. So the LeBron needs to stop thinking about LeBron and he needs to start thinking about the Lakers. I'm just going to be dead ass honest. And I'm going to say it the way Genie did it. LeBron needs to stop thinking about LeBron. He needs to start thinking about the Lakers. Because we won the same, sir. You don't want to give up them 2 picks. Why? Because you're going to be here after this year. Whether you plan on signing back or not, it's going to be wise for you to do so. I'm just going to put it out there. Because it seems to me, to be honest with you guys, I'm just going to say this. It seems to me that I've been ahead of the game on a lot of this stuff, man. Not as it pertains to specifics, but just the landscape of how difficult it's going to be to move this, that. I think I kind of got an understanding of what we may end up seeing later on. And I really do believe a guy like LeBron James now should be thinking about how to stay with the organization, enrich himself in his own future, have a 5-year plan about his own career as it pertains to staying right here and make sure that flexibility that we're trying to create is also part of his long-term goal to end his career with this team like he planned in the first place. And don't back us into a corner to give up all of our damn stuff just so we can bring an extra player or 2 that you probably won't even use. Wouldn't it suck, Bron, if you go through all this, we mortgage them damn picks, we bring you the guys that you want to play with, and they get hurt, and you're still left with nothing? How many times have you gone through that? Can we stop and look at how many times Bron is actually going through that scenario that I just said right now? And he wants this guy and this guy, and we pay this guy and this guy, and then they'll get to the moment where you need the guy and he's hurt. And the team ain't got enough talent because you didn't mortgage all of that cap space into those few guys. It's like, bro, don't you see? Don't you see that that's cost you rings? I want LeBron James to see that those decisions didn't benefit him. They hurt him when he needed them not to. Your team was good enough to get to the moment, but they weren't whole. Why were they not whole? Because you didn't have depth, sir. Because they didn't have adequate backups to let them guys heal from injuries. They didn't have adequate players to come in when they were struggling. They didn't have adequate players to come in and be talented when you get in foul trouble. These things mattered so damn much, and you wanted to give Tristan Thompson a whole fortune. You want to give this guy a whole fortune. You want to pay that guy when you know he's done. Fam, it directly relates to what happens here. You want to give away Wiggins when he's a kid. Bro, you see what Wiggins turned into years later? You can't give up on youngsters, bro. You can't do it. Did you get Cleveland a ring? Yes. Do you know how many you could have got them if you would have let them build properly? Let's be real. Miami, same thing. Came through real quick. Got him a ring real quick, man. You could have sustained and got 7, 8, 9. Your talent would have got them that. It's what was around you, just like you finding out. It's amazing that I'm saying this and I'm realizing you realize this now because of what you said on the damn shop. About how if you were a tennis star, this, that, and the third, it'd be easier, less sleepless nights because other guys. It's about the other guys, homie. But it's not just about their willingness. It's about them being present. And how many of them are good enough to keep you afloat when you need to sit down? Yes, you're strong enough to stay in the game, but fouls. But health and safety. But everything that can pull you away from the game. Look at the Kyrie situation. Brooklyn wasn't prepared for that. They didn't have the depth. It crumbled them. A guy walking away should not crumble you. Even if he's the third best player on the team, the rest of the team's professionals too, they should be able to at least get us far enough if we got a Hall of Famer next to us. Brooklyn didn't build properly. We didn't build properly. You, my friend, often ask teams not to build properly, and you're about to make that mistake again on the twilight of your career because you have this short win now mentality. And I'm telling you, my friend, now keeps coming. For an athlete like yourself who probably ain't gonna want to retire next year, who ain't gonna retire the year after that, who ain't gonna retire the year after that, who definitely ain't gonna want to retire the year after that. You see where I'm getting with this? And then Bronny's gonna come into the league. And let me guess, LeBron James, the way his genetics is set up, he's still gonna be feeling good then too. And you know what he's gonna want? A flexible franchise to play for, with the ability to bring him all that he needs to continue to be an NBA champion even then. I see that part coming. What I'm trying to do is help him see that coming. So if you know Bron, send him this video. Anyway, that's pretty much what I got, man. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.